Hey guys, what's going on? It's Colin. We are obviously in a super weird time right now. The markets are fluctuating up and down rapidly every single day. You're seeing more than 23 million Americans file for unemployment, and that's along with many people who have been furloughed and sent to work from home. With these crazy changes, a lot of people are wondering what they should be doing with their money and exactly how they should be either investing or not investing in such an uncertain time. Thankfully, there are a few different ways that you can either invest your money or save it in a way that is very safe through a recession. And I want to talk about a few of those today to help out some people that are just trying to find a simple way to put their money somewhere that's safe and will also help them in this recession. Remember, a lot of wealth can be created from the poor economic times of recession because things do generally go back up. So this is very important to remember, as many people are scared away from the markets, but in reality, a lot of riches and wealth are formed. Before I get completely started in the video, I do want to make it very, very clear that I am not a financial advisor or a certified financial planner. These are my recommendations, and whatever you do with your financial choices is completely up to you. These are just recommendations and things I've learned throughout the years. Before you get started with any investments or any thoughts towards this direction, you do need to look at what you have in the bank. And what I mean by this is you need to make sure that you have a sufficient emergency fund in case anything happened. I'm saying in case you lose your job, or in case you already have and you're not getting enough money to meet payments and expenses and mortgages, etc. It's very important that you have a certain emergency fund so you are able to fall back on that. Typically, I hear 3 to 6 months is a good amount of money for your emergency fund. And that means 3 to 6 months of all expenses that you would typically have. Since we are in a recession and things are very unstable right now, I would recommend closer to the 6-month mark. In case anything happens, this money will be invaluable to you and you will be so happy that you saved it up. Moving on, unless you are some sort of professional, I would advise against trying to time the market. I often hear in times of recession of people waiting until it hits its bottom and then trying to buy all in at the same time. Although this is possible to do, it is highly unlikely to time correctly during a recession. Oftentimes people visualize the market as going as a V shape, going down and then up. And they think that they can just time it at the lowest point of the curve and they will be able to reap maximum profits. The problem with this mindset is you don't realize the crazy fluctuation in the market. Just take a look at the market the past few days. You'll see that although you think it goes straight down and straight up, in reality it goes down, up, down, up. Many people already know that there is fluctuation in the market like this, but it is helpful to visualize sometimes the fact that the market is not a straight down and straight up concept. It's up and down, up and down. And when you miss certain days, certain very specific days of the market, whether you waited to buy in or bought in too early, you're missing out on profit. And that's why the average investor, I'll put a link here and in the description, I think it's around 2% that the average investor makes on returns, compared to the S&P 500 that gives you a return of about 7% over a long-term period. So you're probably looking what you can do with your money to either save up or invest. There are a few things here. Since so many things are closed right now, including restaurants and stores and many other businesses, it can be easier for a lot of people to cut back some of their expenses. Most Americans eat out almost half their meals at restaurants. You can cut back a lot of this. Buy some groceries, stock up safely, obviously, but bring those groceries back and eat those. That will save you a ton of money if you're being selective with what you're choosing at the grocery store. And all of that money can be put into any investment types that you would like to. A lot of you probably already are saving more money if you check the bank account to see what your regular expenses are compared to your expenses now. But many people do fall into the trap of buying things online off Amazon or any other site. You're sitting at home all day, you don't have much to do, you might as well scroll through a little bit, right? Unfortunately, that can lead you to buying a lot of things online that you don't need and you wouldn't have bought in the first place. You just have extra time and extra income. But that extra income, or extra discretionary income, I should say, can be put towards many more beneficial things like investments. I would recommend you guys try out an app or different apps like this. There's multiple, I'll list them on the screen. The one I personally use is called Mint. It allows you to put in your different accounts, whether it's bank or investment accounts, credit card accounts, whatever they may be, and it helps you track basically your expenses and what you're spending. And this can very visually allow you to see what you're spending, and I'm sure that you'll be surprised in many aspects of how much you're spending on very stupid things you don't need to be, whether that's subscription accounts that you don't need or anything else. During a recession time like the one we are in, it is very important that you cut back all expenditures that you don't need and that you don't value very significantly, because there's a lot of things that add up, and that extra money is very important right now. Once you cut back your spending and establish a very well-suited emergency fund, then you can start looking at investments. Although there are certain ways that you can buy individual stocks and reap a large profit, that stuff involves much more research. And for the average investor, I don't think it's the smartest thing to do. For the average person sitting out there watching, and for someone like me who's very young, I would recommend either a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA account and just start investing into that. I would recommend index funds, something that follows something similar to the S&P 500. I'll list a few right here and in the description of accounts that are very good. What I use is a Roth IRA from Vanguard. I do this for a couple reasons. First, I'm younger right now, which means my income is also lower. I am being taxed a lower income bracket right now. Think of it like this. I'm being taxed not that much right now on my income. And then my Roth IRA money will grow tax-free, and I'll be able to take it out tax-free again once I'm in retirement. So I'm investing a lot of money into that currently, but that's just my stage of life. If you're also someone who's very young and is in a low income tax bracket, I would recommend doing something similar, which is probably for a majority of the people watching this video. If you are in your later ages, I wouldn't recommend investing all your money into stocks right now. Clearly, it's a recession, and this is why so many people pull out of the markets. What I do want to strongly warn against, though, is taking all your money out of investments just because you see the recession here. If you have time and are trying to ride out the markets in the long term, it can be very easy, and you can be easily swayed to take your money out when you see that going down. Although this can be the inclination, it is important to try and attempt to ride it out and try to get that 7% return over the long term. When you take your money out early, you're basically taking a loss on whatever day that is, and then you're not making any benefits on the up days. So it's hard to explain, but the markets are very volatile. They're going either up and down every single day, and you want to get the rewards and the declines of it. Just ride it out, get the 7%. If you're wondering what I've personally been doing, I have been increasing the amount that I've been investing lately, but that doesn't mean that I'm just funneling all of my money in at once. What I have been doing is I have been increasing the frequency of my investments. I am set up on automatic investments for the most part, just to have it kind of done seamlessly. But I have been kind of stipending in a few payments every few days or every few weeks, just to kind of ride the market and hopefully reach a greater return when the market goes back up. I'm not telling anybody out there to go and do this. This is just what I'm doing personally. What I do want to recommend for everybody out there is 1, make sure you have an emergency fund set up. 2, cut back any expenses that you really don't need to be spending. Any unneeded subscription accounts, any online shopping that is unnecessary, any of that can be cut out during a time of recession. And 3, continue as planned. If you're a long-term investor, this can be a very easy time to try to hop out of the markets. I would recommend against this. It can hurt you in the long run, and this might just be a best time to ride it out or even funnel in a little more investment than you typically would be. I do also want to comment on the fact that many of you have probably received the $1,200 stimulus check in the mail or through direct deposit. And also, a lot of people could possibly be receiving $2,000, I would assume less, payment monthly in the coming future due to certain proposed bills. Now, this is all very uncertain, but if you have your expenses and emergency fund covered and everything else is in order and you're getting these payments, I would recommend saving some of it and investing some of it. This can be very valuable money to you if everything is unaffected from you. Now, many people need this money just to survive or pay common expenses, and in that case, use that money for said reason. This will be much more important to you to get well fed and well paid for in terms of mortgages and loans and rent. Now, if you have your expenses covered, I would not recommend going and blowing this money on a vacation. You can't really do that right now. Or a new laptop or whatever that could be on Amazon or some other site. I would recommend investing some of this money as it could be much more valuable to you in the future. I'll probably make more videos relating to all the stimulus bills and stimulus packages, but leave a comment down below if you'd like to see more of that. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you leave a like down below and subscribe. It helps the channel out, and I will see you guys next time.